Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've already had a great morning already, meeting some old friends, new friends, Christine and Guy and Judith. But also, when I walked in this morning, I also met, for the first time in a long time, one of my old lecturers from Newcastle University, Professor John Mathers. And John's got this wonderful secret of eternal youth. I don't know whether I don't know whether you've noticed. He just looks exactly the same as he did in 1986. So yeah, it's been a really exciting morning already. And I'm here to talk about one of those 4 programs that Guy was talking about this morning. Really lucky to get funded. It's a program called FixOurFood, and it's one of the Transforming Food Systems Strategic Priority Funded programs. And I'm just going to give you a snapshot of where we are after 10 months in the program. And it's been really, really exciting so far. But first of all, we just want to set the context for our program. And if you, even before the pandemic, if you cast your minds back, food has been front and centre in debates in the media, in policy, and it's been a historic period, really, in policy development in the food system. I mean, these just are a few of those policies. You could add the obesity strategy to this, that was launched in the summer, the COP26, the UN Global Food Systems Summit. It's never been busier in terms of research and policy making and practice in the food system. So this particular British Nutrition Foundation Day on Healthy Sustainable Diets, and I thank the British Nutrition Foundation for devoting this annual meeting to this topic, is really, really timely. It's so timely. So it's increasingly popular to look at food, and we've heard a lot about food systems this morning. This is the battle of the diagrams of what is the food system. But they all really mean the same, in that it's a way of avoiding that silo thinking about the kind of challenges in the food system. You've got all the activities from farming all the way to consumption and reuse, and all the outcomes that we want from the food system in terms of food security, environmental health, food safety, so on and so forth, and all the drivers, socioeconomic drivers like poverty, and also environmental drivers like climate change. And you've noticed I've also put governance into this systems diagram as well, because I think governance of that food system is really, really important, and organisations like the British Nutrition Foundation can really play a part in that. We've seen a proliferation in the past 2 decades of private sector governance in the food system, and Judith's been a kind of pioneer in that. Sainsbury's is the #1 fair trade retailer globally, and so it's played a really interesting role in that private sector governance. So how they all interact is a way that the systems lens really allows you to look at the trade-offs, but also the synergies, and also some of those unintended consequences. Allows you to prevent those kind of mistakes that people have made in the past. And we take a food systems approach in FixOurFood. It's a very interdisciplinary team. As you can see here, York is the lead, but it also includes the universities of Leeds and their university farm. It includes Cranfield and Oxford, their climate scientists, and also the policy unit at City University, not too far away from here. And we all work together in an interdisciplinary way: nutritionists, management scientists, agroecologists, so on and so forth, all working together in this interdisciplinary space. Now, FixOurFood is very much co-designed. It wasn't co-designed by academics. It was co-designed with academics and a set of stakeholders, a set of organisations in Yorkshire. So it's very much focused on transformations to a regenerative food system in the Yorkshire context. And we co-designed the proposal and the design of the programme, and we continue to do this with the local economic partnership, with schools, with the National Health Service, with food businesses, and also with civic groups as well, like Good Food York and Leeds Citywise. And we also work with farmers as well, regenerative farmers group in Yorkshire called Future Farmers. And they decided where we should intervene. We are intervening in 3 parts of the food system. One is in healthy eating for young children, so we're working with schools and nurseries to redesign food menus, work out what a good food school is, and also redesign food environments in schools and curriculum. So we're bringing nutritionists together with people like Sarah Bridle, who works on a project called Take a Bite Out of Climate Change, to bring motivational factors around dietary health with also environmental factors like climate change, really changing the way that we look at food and food culture in schools. And I'll come to that again in a moment. We're also working with a set of purpose-driven businesses in Yorkshire, doing all sorts of interesting things, trying to improve the social and environmental impact of their businesses and their business models within the Yorkshire context, from seaweed companies to fungi companies to mainstream companies like Sturdy Foods, who are using spent grain and circular approaches to design some of their bakery products. Really looking at how we can bring an ecosystem of entrepreneurs together to really make a pattern shift in the Yorkshire food system. And, very importantly, our regenerative farming platform called the Future Farmers Yorkshire. It's a platform of about 1,000 farmers in Yorkshire practicing some of the approaches that John was talking about in terms of mixed lays, no bare soil, a real focus on soil health, integrated systems, arable systems with livestock, mob grazing, but they don't really have a lot of evidence to back up their approaches. So we're testing and trialling a lot of these approaches on the University of Leeds farm. So we should collaborate, John, on some of this work, because we need to scale it up and really show proof of concept. And we want those regenerative farmers. We're actually doing a design at the moment of farm tours for school children with the schools that we're working with. And these regenerative farmers, we're working with public procurers to get produce from these regenerative farmers, working with Crown Commercial Services to get the produce into schools. Actually getting away from these system traps and actually intervening in the missing middle, which is what Guy was talking about. We're also looking at new metrics. You can't get transformation in the food system if you don't measure things differently, and also policy and governance. So I'll talk about policy and governance at a local level, but also at a national level in a moment. So this is our schools platform. It's called Leaders for Change. We've already brought together over 20 schools across different demographics from Bradford all the way through to Scarborough. And they've had several events together where they've been working out what a good food school should look like. This is the young people who are deciding this. They're with their teachers, obviously. So we're going to be working with parents, with the school children, and also with teachers to actually redesign school food menus and redesign the way that procurement works into schools as well. And this is really, really exciting. And the work's led by Dr. Maria Bryant at York, who's really pioneering this work with her team in schools. And we're calling it Leaders for Change. We're inundated now with schools who want to join. There's a real momentum and a real kind of enthusiasm about working on these particular topics. The other thing so this is a snapshot, the other thing we've been doing over the past 9 months is really unpacking food insecurity in the United Kingdom, because it's a really, really important topic, and it's something that's rapidly on the rise. One of our partners in FixOurFood is the Food Foundation. We actually have some joint appointments together, and the Food Foundation, we work with them on this report, a policy impact report called Crisis Within a Crisis. And some of the findings are pretty sobering, in that the fact that 2.5 million families now live in food insecurity in the United Kingdom. Before the pandemic, it was 1.6 million families that were accessing emergency food parcels. If you cast your minds back to 2008, the UK and the food banking system in the UK only provided 26,000 emergency food parcels. So this is where the socio-economic drivers are really impacting on the food system. So we've gone from 16,000 food parcels to 2.5 million within that period of time. It's pretty sobering. So we felt this report was very important to do, because it also highlighted the issues around where this widening gap, you know, these families with children. That's why the holiday activity food program and free school meals are really important. They provide a kind of some safety mechanisms during the pandemic. But also, very important for policymakers and for everybody here is the widening gap between BAME communities and also people with disabilities in the pandemic. This is areas where we need to work on and intervene. I'll come back to this in a moment. So we also promised in our proposal to do an evaluation of the holiday activity food programme during the pandemic, and we did this evaluation in the summer of this year over a 3-month period. We actually convened all the local education authorities in Yorkshire together in a meeting, and we said we would like sight of your strategy documents, we want to come and visit some of the programmes, and we carried out very much a mixed methods approach to I'll send that as a link. We also did a video with Marcus Rashford as well, which I don't have time to show. But so this mixed methods approach very much looked at lots of hours of observation. So this is the FixOurFood team going to holiday activity food programs, also interviewing stakeholders, interviewing parents, and doing a survey, national survey as well, and documentary analysis of these strategy documents from all the local education authorities. Now, we wanted to do it in the summer because we wanted to develop a policy document to time with a comprehensive spending review, which obviously took place in September and October. And we wanted to do that because we knew there was a debate going on in government about whether to continue funding the holiday activity food programme. Now, if you've had the time to read the National Food Strategy, all 248 pages of it, then you'll know that recommendation 5 is for government to continue funding the holiday activity food programme. So one of the objectives of FixOurFood is not only to have that academic impact, but through a set of kind of action-orientated interventions, is to have that policy impact. And so we produced this report, comprehensive report with key findings. And what was really interesting about, remember, local authorities only had weeks and maybe between 1 and 2 months to put these plans in place. What we find on the ground was lots of innovation between third sector organisations, between the private sector, and with the local authorities as well, and the schools, to really make it work. There's a lot to learn from how these collaborations did work and how they work so quickly. We also find that the meals, the hot meals, and the variety of diet that was served had a really positive impact on not only the children, but also the families as well. And the benefits were felt wider because initially some of the feedback we got was that because if you think a lot of families have been in lockdown, there was quite a lot of antisocial behaviour to begin with, but once you got the holiday activity food programme underway, that all dissipated, and things, everybody had a really positive experience. And local authorities really stepped up to the challenge. And every local authority had a different plan. It was very much locally contextualised, which is, I think, is a really important lesson to learn when you're doing top-down central government approaches, is to give more empowerment to local authorities. And these are some of the recommendations, obviously. The government should continue, the same as the National Food Strategy, based on all the positive benefits of these programmes, it should continue funding. It should also continue funding free school meals as well, and the dietary provision of the holiday activity food programme should be varied, should be tasty, so on and so forth. And you can see a nice quote here from one of the parents. So what happened? This is, you're all waiting there with bated breath, I think. So what happened is that we did a set of briefings based on the report with government departments, also with the National Food Strategy White Paper team, and also with lots of regional MPs, both in Yorkshire and in places like Liverpool. We're very, very interested, and they've just come out with their Liverpool Good Food Plan, if you've noticed, which really focuses on measures like holiday activity food programs. There's loads of work and pressure on social media, and I'm not saying we were the main influence on the government agreeing in the budget to continue funding the holiday activity food programme, but I think we played a small part in that by shining a light on and by having a proper evidence and an evaluative study to show that. And it also demonstrates early impact of the Transforming Food Systems programme. So we now sit on the York City Council Steering Committee for the Holiday Activity Food Programme, and it's embedded now within FixOurFood, so we're really proud of that. So the other we're not just sitting in our ivory tower doing academic research, as you've already noticed. We're actually getting out and actually setting up interventions ourselves. So this is actually something that we've set up. Myself, Professor of Biology at the University of York, Catherine Denby, and we've set up an indoor, vertical farm in the centre of York, in this shipping container, and we've called it Grow at York. You can imagine a Grow at Sheffield, a Grow at Leeds, actually a Grow at Newcastle, John. We're coming to a place near to you. And so we're producing, it's at the moment experimental, but we're actually starting to create income from it as well. And we can see that there's a business model there, and we've already got early signs of investors who are interested. Because we are producing a range of leafy vegetables and salads for local restaurants, but all the surplus we harvest every Tuesday and every Friday. I was there with my daughter last Friday harvesting. It takes a long time because we're producing, we're producing a lot of crop, and the surplus is going into the two local food banks to provide some fresh produce rather than just the packaged produce that that often is in the emergency food bank parcel. So we're already delivering on our social and environmental outputs. And I know Guy is coming to, because he knows I'm running out of time. So the other thing that we've done is set up this Anchor Institutions platform, schools, and National Health Service, local economic partnership, because we are about to set up a Food Systems Council for Yorkshire, a new governance mechanism to help this transformation within the Yorkshire food system. Thank you very much. Thank you.